All right, so Josh Tanner, District 14, which is just right over there, just across 16. So Eagle and all of Jim County is what I represent. I am a new representative, so one of the things I think is for a lot of people, especially if you are new or for some of the people that have been around for a long time, it is interesting coming from the perspective of the outside. I was the guy, I've read every bill that had been passed over the last 10 years. Every year when the legislature finished up, my office manager would print out every single bill of binders of them, and I'd sit up in my upstairs in my man cave per se, and really has turned into my kids' play area, but I still have a chair in there. But I would read through all those bills, and that's how I got to know Mike. One of the reasons because I'd call him up and I had questions on bills. One of the things that you guys probably don't realize is we are a citizen legislature, and my phone number is posted on my website. Most every person's number, you can go on to Secretary of State, find out who your legislator is. Their phone numbers are right there. And I say most, but almost all of them, you can actually call them up and they will answer their phone. I mean, Tammy, Mike, me, doesn't matter. My phone rings still all the time. And when people find out that they can actually call their legislature and actually have conversations, it actually creates a better, how it's supposed to be, a citizen legislature. So for me, that's kind of what led me into this. So for you guys that are wanting to get involved, if they're here at an event, ask for their phone number, give them a call. For me, one of the biggest issues within the legislature that I really want to go down there and tackle, which was the budgeting process. I'm a numbers guy, that's what I care about. But I was scared because you start looking at not just Idaho, but every other state, and you look at where all of a sudden we talk about like the Colorado heist, the Rocky Mountain heist, and you look at their budgeting aspect, and Idaho is on that same trajectory as well. Because when you are growing in budgets, same as what Mr. Durst had said as well, within the counties, cities, when you're growing those budgets, that's growing government. That is usually what ends up turning the state at one point in time because the government becomes too big. And so for me, that was what my goal was. I mean, you look back in 2015, we were at $6.7 billion and we're at $14 billion now. One of the things I'll correct that Mike actually stated the general fund revenue, and that's mostly what we look at as general fund revenue, was 1.7, but overall with all of our revenue sources, we were only 0.3% growth from last year to this year. I mean, that's huge that we were able to stop that. One of the ways we were able to do that was that new budget process. To me, this was like the cliffhanger of the session, was getting this new budget process. Gives us a lot more transparency, gives us as legislatures more power and control. And I'd say that's probably my second biggest issue with that I had going down there, was the power of the legislature. Legislature, if you look at Constitution, whether you're looking at the federal or the state, we are the ones with the power. We are supposed to have the power, but we have, like Mike had just stated as well, we've given that power away to the judicial side. It's taken a massive amount of power. Well, it's power that we've actually given them. The executive branch, they have a ton of power, and it's because we have given a lot of our authority to them. They have something called the Board of Examiners, which is the governor, lieutenant governor, who else is in it? Lieutenant governor, Attorney General is the secretary, so just those three. And when we're not there, they get to make a lot of decisions, like transfers. So we set the budget, we tell them what they're supposed to spend money on, and then we leave. Well, they get to make the decisions. Well, they don't even make the decisions. I went to try to see where they actually did their job that we had given them to do. Now they turned around and gave it to another bureaucrat that they appointed just to do that. So we've given away our authority, and that's been my goal, is to try to figure out ways to just continue to pull back on that. Mike mentioned multiple different things that we have done with the rules process. In my opinion, that was one of the other issues that I have, and I go out and try to teach classes on the budget process and the rules process. Those are the two things, if I can tell anybody to pay attention to, that is what to pay attention to. Don't read the media, don't read the news, but actually go into the numbers and look at the rules, because that's how things were getting done. That's how things were getting done behind the scenes, in a sense, in the control that was taking over our state. But for you guys out here in District 10, you guys have phenomenal representation. Senator Nichols, Representative Moyle, and Representative Scott, all of them I mean, you guys probably have some of the strongest, I'd say the strongest district in the state of Idaho by a long shot. Just pushing very conservative platform, but in a sense, the direction and the trajectory of the state of Idaho, this district actually sets that standard. You think you're number 2?
You are.
Oh, I would say we're probably close behind
The
it.
amount of votes, Canyon County itself is number 2 in the state.
Wow, yeah. So the last thing I'll leave you with is your neighbors. It is not, I mean, this will be a low election turnout. It will be no matter what, because that's just, you go back throughout history and you look at this, and there's only a certain amount of people that actually show up. I've got people that I go to and talk to, hit their door and have spent hours talking to them, and then I go back and they didn't actually vote. And it shocks me that so many people care. So many people care about the direction of not just Idaho, but care of the direction of the state of the country. And they aren't exercising their constitutional right. What actually makes us a citizen legislature is your vote. So tell your neighbors, get out and vote. Tell your friends. That is, in my opinion, that is how we're going to keep Idaho, is by actually educating yourself and making sure that you show up and actually vote. Because it's so easy to go, forget it, I just don't have time today. I mean, my wife, what's that?
We've got 6 days.
6 days, yeah, no, that's it. I mean, we are on the cusp of it. We got more than 6 days. Oh, early voting, yes, you're right. Sorry, yes, early voting, but yes, 21st is when it closes. But I mean, my wife's the one, like, don't care where she's at, I drag her down there, and make her vote. It's what you have to do sometimes. Everybody has something different, everybody is going, people have vacations, people have travel. Just make sure that is your constitutional right. This is your number 1 thing to do, is make sure to go vote. So with that, thank you guys, I appreciate it. We'll turn it back over to Tammy.